blitzing out of the gates, turning LSU over, making shots from the perimeter, getting to the rim. And you wondered, just right out of the gate, I wonder if this is the night that Haydad is wrong. The under may not be the play. But there was 38 more minutes of basketball to be played, and it did not stay at the same pace. And once again, the under was the play. 125.5, I think, is what we looked at yesterday. Yes. And it finished at what, 117? That's comfortably under. Like, never in doubt under. So, tell me what that game felt like last night. Because watching it, it was at times a little disjointed. It never really felt like Mississippi State lost control of the game, but I did feel like LSU made it more interesting than perhaps some people thought it was going to be.
Kind of like, a fight where the favorite comes out, lands some blows earlier, like, all right, going according to plan, and then the underdog hits a haymaker, gets a shot in, and you're like, oh, wait. And you have that moment where, you've got to regroup and all that. And that's exactly what happened. State regrouped. I mean, LSU goes on a 22-8 run after that 10-0 start by Mississippi State, and then they're leading 22-18. That was with 7 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first half. LSU didn't score a field goal until almost 15 minutes into the second half, or 15 minutes left in the second half.
They went over 12 minutes of game time without a made field goal.
Right. They hit one free throw in that time. State was able to grab control of the game there. LSU cut it to 6 right at the under 16 timeout. Jans was able to get a timeout there, regroup his team, and from there State pushed the lead back into double digits, and it was never really in doubt. So LSU's had that one flurry there where you thought they were going to make it interesting, but then State's quality and LSU's lack of it really showed up the rest of the game. LSU just wasn't able to do anything.
How about DJ Jeffries, the three-point shooter? I mean, the guy who has looked like he couldn't throw it in the ocean if he was on a boat went 5 of 6 from deep last night. All 5 of his made shots were threes. He had 18 points in the game, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. And that was on a night where Tolu Smith was not as good as he has been in recent games. Yeah, solid line, 10 points and 7 rebounds. But it was somebody else, somebody different stepping up last night for Mississippi State. And last night it was DJ Jeffries.
And I thought that was big. State's going to have games like that where Tolu isn't playing his absolute best. And he took a step back last night on the free throw line. He was 0 for 5 there, had a chance to add 5 more points to that total. But, Shaq Moore stepped up a couple of games this year for State, but last night it was Jeffries. I asked Jeffries about this in postgame. I think making that first shot for him was absolutely crucial. The first shot he put up in the game went in. And I think that just gave him a world of confidence, and the rest of the night he shot the ball really, really well. Against Missouri, he had some buckets, but they were 2-pointers. He was able to slash and drive to the bucket, and I said it on the podcast, I thought maybe that's what he needs to be doing, is trying to get to the rim a little bit more and use his athleticism. If State's going to get any version of DJ Jeffries that's a positive, that's going to be really big for them, going through this next stretch. I don't expect him to be 5 of 6 from 3 every night by any means, but if he can just give them 12, 13 points a game, 11 points a game, and just be a little bit more consistent shooting the ball on top of what he's given you defensively and rebounding, that's a huge plus for the Bulldogs. So that's a good thing for State, and they really need Jeffries to build on what he did last night.
Can't help but wonder if that game against Missouri, where he got to the rim and got some baskets, was just like okay, I can breathe. Yes, I scored points. I can still do that. And we'll work out from the rim, but you needed to do something to get a little confidence going.
I mean, it's very possible. But just to get the ball in the bucket, just to get your name on the score sheet in a positive fashion was huge for Jeffries. And like I said, Shaq Moore has gotten more consistent. He's been a double-digit scorer these past few weeks, ever since he got inserted into the starting lineup. Cam Matthews just kind of gives you what he gives you. And then last night off the bench, I don't know if Tyler Stevenson got injured or what happened there. He only had 2 points in 10 minutes. But Sean Jones coming off the bench for his first real extended action in a while. And he had 6 points, had a couple of big buckets, played good defense. State's been able to just find guys here and there during this winning streak to complement Tolu Smith. And then last night when Tolu wasn't at his best, they had somebody sort of fill his shoes with 18 points.
We get a message on the C Spire text line. It says, if you watch closely, Jan subs a good bit early in games, so the main players will not be worn out at the end of the game. To me, that's big. LSU made a run when State really didn't have a scorer in the game at the time. You notice that? You believe in that?
Jans does work his rotations very early in the first half. Like you'll usually after the first, the under 16, State will bring some reserves in. Usually Will McNair, Stevenson will normally come in. Eric Reed will come in at that time. And then, he works them in and out. But then by the time you get to the stretch, he's kind of settling into his lineup. The exception would be that Missouri game where Davis and Moore were in such foul trouble that they couldn't play as much.
Jason says, I'm in a hurry and I can't recall exactly what was said. Maybe Haydad will know what I'm talking about. Richard Williams on the radio broadcast last night was very detailed in explaining how DJ Jeffries started coming alive 2 games ago and specifically about his shooting the ball better. You heard anything about that?
I obviously didn't listen to the radio broadcast being at the game last night, but whatever Coach Williams said, I will certainly buy into. But my guess is he talked about confidence. I mean, that's the thing. Jans told us after the game, he's like, it's one of those things. You watch him in practice, shot looks good. It's going in practice. We just got to get there in the game. So having that, one big game like this might spark of something. But at the same time, he could go back. We could look up on Saturday and he could very easily be 1 of 7 from the field or something like that. He's a streaky shooter. But I know State is very hopeful that this is the start of something for DJ. They need him in this stretch.
Borky, we got a message before the break, or just as we were going to break a minute ago, and I dug a little deeper on this. Mississippi State goes to Arkansas on Saturday, and the message was, looks like Nick Smith Jr. is going to return for Arkansas. Now, if you don't know who Nick Smith is, he is a lottery pick in June. When the NBA draft comes, he's going to be a lottery pick. And it doesn't matter whether he comes back and plays for Arkansas or doesn't, he's going to be one of the first 10, 15 players taken in the draft, maybe as high as top 5. I don't know that it's clear that he is playing on Saturday. I think that's a possibility. Eric Musselman said that they were encouraged and had good news. He was back in practice and that they were optimistic that he was going to be able to play soon. We are optimistic and hopeful Nick will be able to play sometime in the near future. Now, that could be Saturday. That could be midweek next week. It could be the following Saturday. We don't know the answer to that. To me, there are 2 sides of the coin there. One, you're super fired up about getting a player of that caliber back. He's only played in 5 games this year, been nursing a knee injury. There was some doubt as to whether or not he was going to come back at all. But he is an uber talent. But Arkansas has won 4 of their last 5 games. They played really well on the road against Kentucky on Tuesday night. Got a double-digit road win in league play. Everything is moving in the right direction. Guys kind of know their role. People have settled in. There's confidence in the rotation and the roster. So, and if you bring Nick Smith back, does it upset your chemistry? I think that's a reasonable question. And also, is he rusty? I mean, how many minutes do you give him in a game situation for the purposes of knocking off the rust because you really need him down the stretch? So that is a story that will be worth watching this weekend when State goes to Fayetteville.
Oh, for sure. Don't you wish that college sports was more like the NBA, guys, where we would get a practice report and a participation report going into the game this weekend? That would be nice. I can't believe there hasn't been a bigger push for that with how invested everybody is in gambling. And now I know gambling and college sports can't cross, but you would think that with how much money is involved that people would start pushing for that. Either way, I think your response on the text line, if it was you, is an apt one, though. How ready to play, if he does play, will he be? Because Musselman said he stayed home for conditioning. You can't replicate game speed. We say that all the time. Can't do it. He can run every day and practice every day for 2 weeks leading up to this game, and he won't be in game shape. The game will get you in game shape. So, like him playing or not playing, how much does that actually change the way you think about this game? Not the team moving forward, but this particular game. Does it change much?
Apparently, Richard Williams said more arch on DJ Jeffries' shot. Said he was shooting it flat, more like a line drive, and now he's getting more arch on it. And that happened last night and helped his shooting. Whatever it is, it worked last night for DJ Jeffries. Big contributor, big win for Mississippi State. Sports Talk Mississippi.